Hello, this is Darrell Castle with today's podcast. Today is Wednesday, February 5th, 2014. Today we're talking about life here in America as we continue our series on the State of the Union, the real State of the Union. What is life like for real people, families, what's left of them, struggle to survive in a nation ever more hostile to them. Little by little, the foundations of family and even individual life are being torn apart. To survive, a society, a civilization, must have common beliefs about values such as education, marriage, religion, simple honesty, and decency among people. Therefore, the collapse of religious and moral values coupled with educational failure are all important factors. The fact that virtually nothing is ever done to solve any of these problems reflects on our failing educational system. That may help explain Congress's 6% approval rating and 91% re-election rate. Voters apparently don't know enough. They're not educated enough to hold Congress accountable and make them pay a price for their 6% approval rating. For ordinary people, few things are more important than the education of their children. That's why here in my city, people will sleep in the cold, standing in line, sleeping in line, for days trying to get their children into a better school. It's also why there has been an outpouring of opposition to Common Core, which is the federal government's latest plan to take control of local schools and put it at the federal level. It seems that every administration has a new plan for controlling local schools. Parents can see that Common Core is an effort by Washington to centralize power and central planning of their children's lives. The children belong to all of us is the quote now. The children belong to all of us. That really means your children belong to the government, which owns everything, and your children are just another commodity. It's so bad even the New York Teachers Union voted unanimously to pull its support from Common Core. But while we fight Common Core, or whatever program each administration brings forward, we don't say much about what I call our school-to-prison system that runs every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each new program, like Common Core, is really just another way for the government to take our attention away from the overwhelming success that the government education system has been. It has accomplished all their goals. So my view is that education is not a failure in America, it's a success. It has achieved the results the government wants for each of us. Let's look at some of those results. According to a study done last year by the Department of Education, 32 million adults, that is 14% of the population, and 19% of high school graduates can't read. Typical students can't form sentences or paragraphs, let alone balance a checkbook or even make change. In 1900, only 10.7% of Americans were functionally illiterate. So, as the cigarette commercial used to say, we've come a long way, baby. IQ scores have risen tremendously in the last century, and yet massive ignorance of the basics of what free people should know is widespread in the population. Maybe it's the money, not spending enough on public schools. No, expenditures are doubling every few years. And in 2010, we spent $11,184 per pupil per year. Test scores are down. We are routinely beaten by foreign competitors. In the large cities, minorities trapped in failing schools flunk out or drop out and enter the school-to-prison pipeline. 2/3 of students who cannot read by the 4th grade end up in prison or on welfare. 63% of those in prison cannot read, so we can just do the math. This is the real State of the Union today. And no words from the teleprompter will change it. We will continue downhill until parents take control of their children's education and their lives. As Jack Kelly recently said in one of his articles, some parents will make bad choices, but no parent will make choices worse than the fraudsters have made. That is so true, Jack. That is the State of the Union today. We can take it back, or we can feed it our children. That's the way I see it, at least. Wednesday, February 5th, 2014. Until next time, folks, this is Darrell Castle. Thanks for listening.